Once upon a time, in a land far away.
I have lived an independent life since early childhood. Such is the rule among us crickets. My mother used to tell her children, "It's good for you to learn to fly with your own wings." Children who are a burden to their parents develop parasitic habits and will grow up into never-do-wells. Following her principles, she would arrange for her children to live on their own. My two brothers and myself, for instance, lived with her for only 2 days. The third evening, my mother took each of us to a hole she had dug in the corner of a rice field. As the youngest of the brood, I was provided with a small supply of food. But that was all. My mother didn't turn back once. Far from bewailing the situation, I rather enjoyed it. After thoroughly exploring my new premises, I stood at the door, looking at the stars twinkling among the top blades of tall grass. Feeling elated, I rubbed my wings and uttered a few enthusiastic loud cries. From that day on, I started a life on my own. My personal happiness would depend on whether I would be wise or stupid. But I didn't think of that at the time. I merely enjoyed my independence. As I lived soberly and worked moderately, I grew up rapidly, and in no time became a healthy and strong adolescent. I adopted a stately gait. When I walked, I solemnly swayed on my legs, my two antennae shaking in a bellicose manner. I took on darling airs, and would pick quarrel with every one of my neighbors. When I started shouting, they would remain silent, probably not because they were too afraid to answer back, but merely because of a peaceful disposition. But that made me feel too big for my breeches. Alas, I didn't know that one is likely to pay dearly for foolish bluster. Unconsciously, I was doing myself a bad disservice. Later, I would many times narrowly escape death. My heart would then be filled with remorse. But remorse was not much of a help in setting things right again. This was how the first mishap came about. Near my place lived a mole cricket, about my age. He belonged to the weaker kind of cricket, so I rather looked down on him. And he was truly afraid of me. Thin and pale like an opium addict, he had ridiculously short wings, which made him look as though a waistcoat were his only clothing. His hind legs were thick and utterly inelegant. In addition to all that, he had ludicrous stumps in place of antennae, and the dazed look of a hopeless country bumpkin. And he was not the kind of fellow to do things seriously. His hole was shallow, and had no galleries like mine. One afternoon I stood at my doorstep. It had rained the night before, so the neighboring ponds and lakes were overflowing. Egrets, cranes, cormorants were coming to search for food. While philosophizing over the facts of life, I suddenly noticed a cormorant who had alighted just a few steps from my place. A wicked idea came to my mind. I called my neighbor the mole cricket. When I heard his answer, I asked him, "Would you like to have some fun?" "How so?" "Just playing a joke on somebody." "On whom?" "On yonder cormorant." "What? That big, fat female standing a few steps from our doors?" "Precisely." "My God, no! I can't afford that. And I would advise you not to either." "Me? Not to? What are you talking about? I fear nobody, Mr. Coward." "Then do it alone, please. I humbly confess that I'm afraid." "You poltroon. Look, I'm going to play a good joke on the cormorant." I waited for a favorable moment and then started singing. Bong, bong, bong. The egret, the crane, the pelican. All three are fat enough. Which one should I pluck, sir? Pluck the cormorant for me, my boy. I will have it cooked, broiled, fried, and I'll eat it. This gave the cormorant a start. Opening her eyes wide and stretching her wings, she strutted towards where the song came from and asked in an angry voice, "Who just said that insolent thing about me? Who?" I quickly backed down to the bottom of my hole, saying to myself, "You're angry, eh? But you won't get me, even if you break your silly head knocking it on my door." The cormorant didn't get me, as a matter of fact, but she caught sight of the mole cricket in his shallow hole. I heard her angry shout, "Mole cricket, what did you say about me?" "I said nothing, big sister." "How dare you deny it? How dare you?" A heavy stroke of the cormorant's bill accompanied each of her rebukes. I heard the mole cricket's painful whine. Having relieved herself of anger, the cormorant flew away to look for fish. Carefully, I crept up. When he saw me, my poor neighbor cried bitterly, "Heavens! You caused my death, big brother." "What happened?" I asked. But the mole cricket could not stand on his legs. He was lying on the ground, half dead. Tears came to my eyes. I spoke softly. How could I know things would happen this way? "Brother, my heart is filled with bitter remorse. My silly bragging is the cause of this tragedy." The mole cricket was in agony, but he found the strength to give me some advice. "Being in poor health," he murmured. "I won't live long anyway, so I'm not really sad at having to die now. But before leaving this world, I would like to advise you not to be such a foolish braggart. Before you do anything, pray. Think the matter over carefully. Less danger will befall you." Moved to tears, I bowed my head and said, "Big brother, thank you for your wise advice. I promise to follow it." Mole cricket breathed his last. My heart was heavy with pity and remorse. Had it not been for the silly joke I played on the cormorant, he would not have died, and I myself had a close shave too. Far from being the smart fellow I thought I was a confounded fool. My heart swelled with remorse. I buried Mole Cricket in a grassy piece of land. I heaped earth on his grave so that ants wouldn't be able to disturb his rest. I stood for a long moment before his tomb, my eyes filled with tears. I was so sad and felt so much pity for my friend.
Eine doofe Höriger aus der Leben von der Ferne, mit Vergnügen Herzen drin, singt in jede Senderin. Darum zieh ich jedes Jahr in die Berge, das ist klar. Und ich sing mit frohem Sinn, weil ich dann im Urlaub bin.
When I was very young, before I had even started kindergarten, my mother would take my little brother and I on long walks through our neighborhood. We had recently moved all the way from Mexico City to Fairfax, Virginia. At 3 years old, I was none the wiser to any of these changes. I just knew we lived inside a first-floor apartment with noisy neighbors and a leaking boiler. My mother never seemed bothered by the weather. We had outfits capable of enduring every season. We had boots, marshmallow coats, overalls, sunglasses, baseball caps. I always had to match with my brother. Our walks started inside the apartment complex. There was the pool, the leasing office, the parking lots, the small golf course. They were always empty. There was a little blue playground in the far end of our neighborhood. Just some slides and some platforms. But as a toddler, it was already enough to strain my tiny limbs. My brother and I would play together, going up and down the slides over and over and over and over again. My mother would just watch quietly. I don't think we ever saw another person there. After the playground, we would follow a road out that took us through more empty neighborhoods and more empty playgrounds. There was a green one, and there was a yellow one. My brother and I always felt like we were exploring. All the different neighborhoods were just as empty. They called very little attention to themselves. All the same, all uninviting. I would rather look at the trees, at the sky, at the ground, at the earth. I even had a favorite tree after some time. When we would have to head back home, after hours of walking aimlessly, my mother would have to carry my sleeping brother. She would tell me that it's because he's little, or that he was tired. And I, on the other hand, I was older, and I was heavier, and I could do it. I could walk back. I remember I was just jealous. I would come to view the world as an eternally quiet place. Everything that could possibly exist was just tall trees, blue skies, and fresh air. It was just my family's footsteps going in no particular direction. There was no one around to bother us. We had no need to worry for anything. We always had a home waiting for us. We felt at home with one another. Felt like we were the only people on Earth.
Don't you have the biggest smile? All your friends around, all your friends are here. Laughing at the rainbow sky, all that yellow dirt. Some would call it gold. When the clouds hang low, shrouded by the fog, you turn into mist. You just know me so well, other side of the door. I hold my friends around, I hold my friends around.
Welcome back to Me Screaming.
I've been watching you for a long time. I can see you sitting in that chair. Are you hungry yet? Can I fetch you a nice meal? I'm on my way up the stairs right now. I'm on the first floor. I'm on the 500th floor. Are you going to let me in? Let me in now. Okay. I never really needed your permission anyway.
Hãy ngủ đi và mơ thấy niềm vui. Đón ngọt ngào vô biên trong khoảnh khắc, cho vị đắng của khổ đau tan mất, cho bờ môi chẳng biết những niềm vui. Hãy ngủ đi và mơ ước em ơi. Buổi chia tay, bóng trăng treo huyền ảo, vẫn sáng trong như sáng đã lâu rồi, nhưng không thể còn mơ màng bừng tỏa. Hạnh phúc đông đầy ánh mắt thoạt nào vui. Hãy ngủ đi và mơ ước em ơi.
Back when the world was still new and barely formed, there was a solitary bobcat longing for cubs. The stars saw this and wished to help, so they came down from the heavens to bless her, bestowing her with the energy to bring life. Now go out into the world, the stars said. And as the bobcat walked, the earth bloomed around her.